Namaskar. Welcome to this session. We are considering that marvelous sutra on Sarvahbuta rutajnanam, that yogi understands the language of all beings. And all beings may not have language, they have sounds, but the sounds themselves form their language. And that is what we are looking at. And we fail to appreciate certain things in the natural phenomenon. Say, for example, when we say the speech organ and auditory organ, the speech organ utters phonetic units to form a word. And in the previous session, we took the example of comprehension. The word comprehension has so many phonetic components, such as ka, omp, pri, h, a, na, sh, na. So there are so many phonetic components, and we are able to utter only one phonetic component, one phonetic unit at a time. But when we utter in continuum, the human intelligence, better called as Buddhi, the Buddhi is grasping this. Although one phonetic form disappears and next phonetic form comes, and there is always a succession in our utterances of the phonetic components. So there is disappearance and appearance. So even what has disappeared is registered by the Buddhi, and then it comes to declare that this is the word. So words have so many phonetic components, and they are always uttered in quick succession, and where we also have to take note that unless the previous goes, the next cannot come. Unless the previous phonetic unit goes, next phonetic unit cannot come in, because only one unit can be placed at in one moment. But yet the Buddhi, quite not being mechanical, it understands that, and we don't appreciate this marvel because it is something that we have taken for granted. But that's a great faculty function of the brain, the Buddhi, that it conceives a word. Although the phonetic forms are not having potentially that word, but when they come in particular sequential order, they complement the following phonetic units. Say, let's take one more example of universe. So what are the phonetic units here? U, ni, ver, sa. So the r is half, and universe. So we utter them in quick succession. So unless the u is gone, ni doesn't come. Unless ni is gone, ver doesn't come. So on and so forth. But yet the Buddhi registers all that, and then it gives you the revelation that the word was universe. Now it is a marvel that has to be appreciated, but we are taken it for granted because we are so familiar with it, and we fail to understand this aspect of phonetic units the Akshara and Pada. So they are not related to each other. The Aksharas are not related to each other. The literal letters are not related to each other. Phonetic units are not related to each other. But they get related. So that's their flexibility and pliability, that they get related to each other in forming that word. So Vyasa brings to our notice this aspect. So there is a continuous process of appearance and disappearance with respect to phonetic units called Avirbhava, Tirobhava. So each letter is Apada Rupa. Each letter, phonetic unit, is non-word, but it forms word. That's a marvel. Non-word units come together and form a word. Now this is quite a marvel. And now this marvel is because of the human intelligence. So this aspect is brought to notice by Vyasa by deciphering the word Shabda in Patanjali Sutra. Shabdartha pratyanam itaretar adhyasat tat sankarastat parvibhava samyamat sarvabhuta rutajnanam. What is that Shabda? Shabda is word. What is that word? Word is body of phonetic units. So the varnas come together and form a pada. Letters come together and form a word. Each letter or the letter doesn't potentially have the word in it. If you recall the example that was given in the previous session, A, the first phonetic unit of A, can be followed by some other units which will make it apple, ample, amplitude, amplification, etc., etc. So the A doesn't really contain the following word, following part of that word, but it gets easily related. And this is because of the human intelligence. So that marvel is brought to notice, our notice rather, by Vyasa. So in case of a statement, sentence, Vakya, again there is a great thing. Because in a sentence, in a statement, in a syntax, you have several words. And again, those words are not similarly having the potential statement. Now, in a statement such as, I am coming to your house. When I utter I has no potentiality to have am coming to your house. Then I am doesn't have the potential to the statement coming to your house. I am coming. The coming doesn't have potentially to your house. But however, when they are uttered in that quick succession, then they get related, and what is not potentially there actually comes to form or comes into existence This is because of human intelligence. So human intelligence is a great kind of agency here, and we are able to understand the whole sentence, because when I am uttering I am coming to your house tomorrow, by the time when I say am, I is gone. When I say coming, I am is gone. When I say to, I am coming is gone. When I say your, I am coming to is gone. So there are disappearances and appearances because of quick succession. They become meaningful. Now, if you don't utter them in quick succession, it won't convey the meaning. If I take a long gap between each word, I am coming to your house tomorrow, after each word I take a long gap, then you do not get the idea that I am coming to your house tomorrow. But when I utter it in quick succession, although there is something disappearing and appearing, something gone and something coming, yet you construe the idea that I am coming to your house tomorrow. So that happens with respect to Vakya. So like Pada, similarly it is of Vakya. Then there can be several statements which you comprehend the gist of it. I utter 7, 8, 10 sentences and you get an idea in your mind. You conceive an idea in my 8, 10 statements which I have made. So, see that anusandhanam, the Buddhi is able to keep anusandhanam on what is gone. Now this is the marvel of the intelligence. So, the marvel to be appreciated is that what is potentially is not there, it getting actualized is one thing. And with the Buddhi, we are able to conceive a word, conceive a statement, and conceive a passage. Passage containing several statements. Well, that's a great human faculty which is brought to our notice by Vyasa. Now this has reference to a siddhanta, a theory that comes in Vyakarana Shastram called Sphota. Sphota, there is Pada Sphota, there is Vakya Sphota. And understand the importance of the Buddhi agency which is able to have the language developed, language understood, language used. So Vyasa explains Pada Sphota, that when the word with several phonetic units is uttered, a word explodes out of it. Like we saw the example of universe. There are phonetic factors. So when the word universe is uttered, there is Pada Sphota. That means the word is conceived. Then similarly there is Vakya Sphota. With a sentence, also we are able to conceive a meaning, a communication out of that statement. So that's called Pada Sphota and Vakya Sphota, which comes in the Vyakarana Siddhanta called Sphotavada. So the Antya Varna, last phonetic unit, when it is uttered, you get the word. Like universe. So when the last phonetic unit is uttered, you conceive the word universe. Or comprehension. When the last phonetic unit is uttered, you get the word comprehension. And there is that marvel which again repeat, the non-word becomes a word. Avarna becomes varna with antya varna. And the Buddhi registers this, the phonetic units, their sequential order, and of course the words have a conventional meaning, what is called as loka buddhi by Vyasa. Like water is a word, and you know what is the meaning of the word water. Now that meaning of the water is given by convention, and the whole community knows the meaning of that word and to what it corresponds, to what object it corresponds. So there is that, it is sanketika. The Shabda-artha relationship is sanketik, conventional. Why water means water and fire means fire and light means light? It is convention that the word is given meaning by the convention. Convention comes from whom? From people, and that is why it is called loka buddhi. So therefore, we are able to understand a word, understand a statement. So these factors have been deciphered by Vyasa. So important concepts such as laukika buddhi, sanketa have come in Vyasa's commentary. So imagine if there had been no language as such, we would have only produced sounds. Like animals produce sound, we would have produced sounds. But because there is a language, and language means there are words and there are corresponding meanings to the words, and those are given by convention, and those are in the minds of people of that language, the whole community. That's called laukik buddhi. So that's also another important thing that is brought to notice. Only incidentally, let me tell you, comparison between Sanskrit language and other languages, apart from vernacular language, because vernacular language has parentage with Sanskrit. So in Sanskrit, the word and its meaning are not so conventional. There is quite a science behind why a particular word has particular meaning. And how do you get the particular word? Why a substance is called water in English, there is no sufficient scientific basis. It is by convention that has come. But in Sanskrit, the words find a roots. They come from certain roots, and the roots have certain meanings. So the etymology of Sanskrit is unique. Philology in Sanskrit is unique. In other languages, it is more conventional. So I will just cite one example. A phonetic unit of the word, or phonetically a word is red. Now the red has one meaning when it is with reference to color. Then the spelling is also R-E-D, red. But the word, same word, phonetic word, same red word, comes with reference to reading, verb. It's a verb. Reading is a verb. And there the spelling becomes R-E-A-D. Read. Phonetically, form is identical. So the convention has decided why R-E-A-D is also read and why R-E-D is also read. It is convention. So why the word is spelled that way is convention, and why the word is uttered identically is also convention. So unless it is a sentence, you won't understand whether the word read is R-E-D or the word read is R-E-A-D. So you will have to take into consideration the syntax, the sentence, the statement, and then decide that it is red color or it is inflection of the verb. So there will be same phonetic form of words for the two words which are not mutually related at all, like R-E-D read and R-E-A-D read are not at all connected, related in any way. One is color and another is inflection of verb, but yet phonetically they are uttered the same way. While in Sanskrit there is more a kind of science and theory than all those words in it. They come from the root, and the root has the same meaning. So that's the unique aspect of Sanskrit language and other languages which I just related to you incidentally. Anyway, the point is, we were dealing with the Pada Sphota and Vakya Sphota. Incidentally, let me tell you one more thing here, that the language is primarily for the purpose of oration, vocalization and speech. Language is not formed for writing. Later the script came up and then you could be writing the language. But otherwise the language is primarily having the purpose of subserving the organ of speech. And it is to be understood that every statement, every sentence, every syntax has as many meanings or as many shades of meanings as many words in it. This is also an important point to be noted when we are considering the Shabda aspect. Shabda, the word, the phonetic form. So let's take an interesting example here. A sentence that I am going to go to Mumbai tomorrow. This is a sentence. So it has one meaning. I am going to go to Bombay tomorrow, or I am going to Mumbai tomorrow. So you know it has one meaning. So when it is in written form, it has only one meaning. But in spoken form, it can have many meanings, perhaps as many as the words in it. What is that? What is it that I am trying to put across? I am going to Mumbai tomorrow. Now, with the trajectory, with the volume, with the emphasis and stress, different meanings can come out of the same body of words. I am going to Mumbai tomorrow. So what are the words? I am going to Mumbai tomorrow. So there are those 6 words in it. but it has only one meaning when it is in written form. But in oration, see now the varieties that you will be able to get. I am going to Mumbai tomorrow. That means that emphasis on I excludes some proxy, not you, not he, not she, but I. So in oration, if you put stress, then it gives different meanings. I am going to Mumbai tomorrow. So shows the conviction and the definiteness that I will be going to Mumbai tomorrow, come what may. I am going to Mumbai tomorrow. So understand what is being emphasized. I am going to Mumbai tomorrow. So certainty, determination is amplified. I am going to Mumbai tomorrow. Stress on Mumbai rules out any other destination. Again, the certainty that where I will be going tomorrow will be Mumbai and not Chennai, not Bengaluru, not Pune, not London, not Tokyo. So the certainty becomes clear. Then I am going to Mumbai tomorrow rules out the day after tomorrow or any other following day. So certain things will become clear by the trajectory of the words, volume of the words, stress and emphasis on the words. So you will be able to conceive the right meaning that is in the mind of the speaker. So that's why as many meanings, as many words, because of the speech aspects by way of trajectory, by what is called as throw or what is called as stress and emphasis, etc. Stress, emphasis, etc. So that's one thing. Another thing in, say, for particularly in the language of English, where you take a pause, that would change the meaning, and you can have really quite a hilarious time if the pauses are given in wrong places. You cannot be breaking the words, you cannot be taking the pause anywhere that you like to take. It would change the meaning of the word. So I'll just give you one example here. His wife who is in Mumbai is ill. You get the meaning that his wife who is in Mumbai is ill. His wife who is in Mumbai, I taken a pause. There the pause would mean that he has several wives, but the wife who is in Mumbai is taken ill. He has a wife in Chennai, he has a wife in Delhi, he has a wife in Kolkata, he has a wife in Pune, but the wife in Mumbai has taken ill. So, what you call as comma in punctuation, where you put a comma changes the meaning. Where you take a pause in your speech changes the meaning. So, these are certain amusing aspects of language, and language is spoken language primarily. That was the major factor that I wanted to emphasize. So also there are certain assumptions which come in when you utter a statement. When I say I am cooking food, that means there are so many other things which are inferred, that I have a place like kitchen, I have tools, equipments which are required for cooking, they all are there. And therefore the statement that I am cooking food also implies that I have certain instruments. I have got something to boil, I have got water, I have got some burner, or some kind of stove. So I have got knife, I have got so many things. So in certain statements, so many things are implied. I am driving a car implies that I am sitting in a car and I am capable of driving a car, and not just I am driving a car. I have somewhere to go and therefore I am driving a car. I have some purpose to drive, therefore I am driving a car. So this is the marvel of our language, which Patanjali, the Vyasa rather, also brings to our notice. So he puts a statement, Tatha pachati iti ukte sarvakaranam akshepo niyamartho anuvadaha kartrukarana karmanam chaitragni tandulanam iti. Food is being cooked. That means there is a person who is cooking. A food is being cooked means there are cereals or there are pulses and there are grocery items to be cooked. So also there are instruments which are needed for cooking. They are all inferred. So sometimes the verb is inferred and sometimes the noun is inferred in just uttering very brief codified kind of word. So that's also a marvel which the intelligence is able to interpret. And the Vyakarana Shastra does consider all those things. So that's another interesting thing that was to be taken note of. And we have done that by looking into Vyasa's comment. So, point is, coming to this particular siddhi, let's also have little roundabout thinking, which is very important. Let's take an example of the cow. The cow is crying. The cow has a sound and it produces a sound. Now it can produce a sound for different purposes, and we will have to consider this interesting aspect now. The sound of the cow, humma. Now there can be various communications which might come out of its cry. That it is missing its calf. The calf has been lost somewhere, and then it has that worry, anxiety, and then even its eyes show that it is searching. It is eagerly looking for its calf, its beloved calf. We can also infer the worry, anxiety, the cry, in the sense it is really having cry. It is crying because it has lost its calf. So the cow will have particular kind of sound form of its cry, which is hamma, which will tell us that it is having worry, anxiety, and it is searching for its beloved calf. The birds will be chirping. The birds also will be chirping for various reasons. Sometimes when a snake is climbing up on the tree, the birds start giving signals. They are trying to signal the danger that a snake is climbing up. They know that it's a predator, and therefore the birds will be chirping differently. So the birds will be chirping out of happiness, delight, sorrow, worry, anxiety. The animals will have their cries for all these various emotions, various conditions that they are in. And behind their sounds, there is that mind, which we commoners cannot read it. Now sometimes the dogs bark, but it is brought to our notice that sometimes the dogs are barking as signal for earthquake, which is an offing. They get the signals of any earthquake beforehand, and that's why the dogs start barking. So they are suggesting that shortly there would be an earthquake. So there are so many things even in their languages which we don't understand. So that's the unique thing about the language of animals, that there is always a mind behind it. Just because they have a mouth, it is not that they produce a sound. There is a purpose behind producing a sound. And there is also sound variation which commensurates with the purpose which is in the mind. So, that is the meaning why it is barking, why it is crying, why an animal is crying, or why a dog is barking, why the birds are chirping. And as I said earlier, that there is absolute fidelity between their mind and their speech, which is lacking in human beings. So, that's also a point to be noted, that yogi is able to get that knowledge of why animals are producing sound, that is the artha, and by pravibhaga, by division, the yogi is able to get to know the knowledge of the animals and birds. So they have some pratyaya. Like as I said just now, a snake is climbing up the tree at night. So some birds have perceived the snake is climbing up. So they have that image in the mind that the snake is coming, getting atop the tree, climbing up the tree. And they know the meaning that when the snake is climbing up, it is coming to endanger us. They know the meaning that the snake is not just coming up as a guest to visit us, but it is coming to endanger our living. So they have a pratyaya and they have a meaning behind their chirping. So their chirping sound will give communication that the snake is climbing the tree and all the other birds on the tree should beware of it. The danger is coming up. So there is pratyaya and there is jnana, that is the jnana, and there is artha and there is shabda that they produce. So yogi is able to have this pravibhaga for the samyama, Not that in thought process he is able to have the division, but in samadhi process there can be division, and he gets samyama on the division, and therefore he is capable of knowing the language of the animals and birds and creatures. So that is how the yogi is capable of having the Sarvahbuta rutajnanam. So that is what the siddhi is, and with the advent of the siddhi, we also got some knowledge about the Vyakarana Shastra, some knowledge about Pada Sphota, Vakya Sphota, Laukika Buddhi, Sanketa, Shabdartha Sanketa. So important things were brought to our revelations. And with that, we had some introduction to the grammar that creeps in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. So with that, let us proceed to next of the siddhis. Enough for the time being. Namaskar all of you.